Hello again, back for a new episode. Today, we're going to be talking about a very morbid topic. We're going to be talking about suicide in Japan. Now, as you probably know, or maybe you don't know, Japan has the highest suicide rate, I think, in the developed world. I mean, it is sky high. I even have a little bit of experience with it. Not my own suicide, I'm talking about people committing suicide here, which is a tragedy. I mean, when you live in Japan, there are a lot of pressures. A lot of pressures. You have to go to work. You have to perform like a robot. And some people aren't designed to do that. But in order to survive, you got to do it. I mean, the pressure that they put on some kids, not all kids. I mean, some parents put a lot of pressure on their kids to go to cram schools. Once you get into that cram school, that enhances your chances of getting into a good university, is what everybody wants. That's what everybody is aiming for. So, a lot of kids, sometimes when they don't make it to the university that they thought they were gonna get into, to the university that they worked very, very hard for years to try and get into, when they don't make it, they end their lives. Now, the way that they do it, the most popular way, I mean, I hate to say popular because, I mean, again, but the most common way is they basically jump in front of a train. That happens a lot, depending on the time of year. It happens more than during other times of the year. And you know, over here, when people jump in front of a train, the trains end up moving after 15 minutes because it's a common occurrence. One time, I was on a train, and all of a sudden, you know, the train wasn't moving particularly quick, but usually from what I hear, people usually wait for the express and jump in front of that instead of like jumping in front of the local train. But what happened in my situation was I was sitting on a train going to work, and all of a sudden, somebody jumped in front of the train. Now, I didn't know it at the time. I didn't understand what was happening. I thought it was a normal stop. Until I heard like a loud scream. And then all of a sudden I was like, what's going on? And it was like one scream. It wasn't like 2, 3, 4 screams or whatever. It was like one loud scream. Then everybody kind of looked at the window, and I was like, okay, well, let me look at the window too. Then they pulled this guy out. He actually didn't look too bad, but his legs were definitely curved up and mangled up. I mean, they didn't wait for an ambulance to come and pull him from underneath the train. Actually, they moved the train a little bit forward, they moved the train a little bit backwards, and the attendants that work at the train station, they were the ones that pull them out. Now in America, you wouldn't touch this person until the ambulance arrived because you don't want to get sued. But over here, it's different. The attendants pull you out. And if they damage you while they're pulling you out, then you're damaged, and that's just the way it is. But this is where it gets a little crazy. This is where things get a little funny. Not funny, not sarcastic, but what happens after, let's say, your family member jumps in front of a train? You would think that the people at the railway company would feel sorry for you and, express their condolences or something. No, 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 no. This happens so often that once somebody jumps in front, all of a sudden, your family members owe the railway company money. I'm not kidding. I didn't make a mistake. I'll repeat it. Once your family member jumps in front of a train, your family owes the railway company money because you've just delayed the train by 15 minutes and I think they lost money or whatever. I mean, I don't know how they lost money because the person that was going to get on the train 15 minutes earlier is going to get on the train 15 minutes later. And it's extremely efficient because I know that in New York when that happens, you won't be getting on a train for an hour or two. You got to wait for the ambulance to come in and then extract the person out. But over here, that's not happening. That ain't happening. You're not going to get a medical professional to pull you out from underneath that train. You will get medical attention after they put you where it is that they're going to put you. So, that's a little crazy, isn't it? You have a family member that jumps in front of a train because they're depressed, and all of a sudden, you, the immediate family member, is going to be fined. Now, I don't know of anybody that that's happened to, so I don't know if they end up paying it or if they don't pay it, but I know that there is a fine for that. And over here, like I said, people get depressed at work. People get depressed at school. There are a lot of lonely people, even though this country looks like they have everything happening, which, again, you have a lot of good things happening here. Things function like they're supposed to, but not everybody's happy. Even though they look like they should be happy, and they have more than a lot of developing countries have. So you would expect the suicide rate over here to be way less than what it is, but it isn't. And again, what's shocking is the way that they decide to terminate their lives is a little bit, for me, tragic. I mean, also painful. I mean, the guy that I saw when he got pulled out, he was still living. He was still alive. He's lucky that the train didn't actually roll over his head. I mean, his legs looked like they were mangled up, but he still looked like he was okay. I don't think that he was able to scream because of his condition, but Again, that was a very tragic situation, and I hope he made it. Hope he's able to walk again. But again, we don't know. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that, yes, over here, you have a lot of what other countries don't have. You have schools, they work. You have stores, they work. You got restaurants, they work. You get the food that you want. Whatever you want over here, you can get it. If you want a nice car, you can get that. If you want a nice apartment and you have enough money to get it, you can get it. Of course, it's a little confusing if you don't speak the language, so you don't know what's available. But usually, whatever you can find in any developed country, you're going to find it here. Whatever it is that you want to do that has a monetary value to it, you can do it here. But that definitely doesn't mean that you're going to find happiness here. Because, like I said, there are a lot of individuals over here that haven't found that happiness, even with all those material things that this country has to offer. I mean, again, this country's stable. You don't have political turmoil, even though the Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated a few years ago. But that didn't really cause chaos. So, foreigners get depressed over here too. Foreigners sometimes have breakdowns, and it's kind of hard to get mental health treatment over here. Definitely not like what you see in the States. And I'm not even sure that it's, I mean, I guess it's available, but not to the level that you're going to see back in America. But again, Japan is a place with a very, very, very high suicide rate. There is a lot of pressure on young people. Not only that, in Japan, you have to conform, meaning most people have to be the same. You can't be out of place. And because you can't be out of place, some people find that they don't fit in. And because they don't fit in, they resort to drastic measures. I mean, you have some people over here, they're so depressed that they don't even come out of their house anymore. They stay in their home. They don't come out of their house because they're so depressed. That also happens to people. So, but they're probably, I mean, if you're thinking about suicide, I mean, you know, if you're not coming out of your home, that's better than committing suicide, of course. So I guess those are the lucky ones. But they still were not fitting into society here. And you have a lot of that. People that just don't fit in, even though they look like they should fit in. You have certain times of the year where people resort to doing certain things because they're not adjusting to life over here. And it's primarily people who work places where they don't fit in. It's students who don't get the grades because their parents put a lot of pressure on them. and of course a few other people. So I'm not sure what the solution is. I mean, in America, I guess you do have way more mental health solutions than you do here. So maybe if they adopted that strategy of offering people more mental health options, maybe things could improve. But usually, I'd say about 2 months ago, there were a lot of incidents of people jumping in front of the train. And usually you know that it's happened because of the way the conductor speaks. The delay, the amount of delay. And everybody in Japan knows it. Everybody in Japan understands it. People in Japan just kind of like are desensitized to it. And you know, when that happened to me, when I was on the train and they pulled somebody out right underneath the car that I was sitting in, I was kind of like, I'm not sure I even ate that day. But Japanese people are stronger. They were like, you know, okay, oh, okay, just another one. And the efficiency in which they were able to pull this guy out from underneath the train, I'm not sure if efficient is the right word, but it was pretty efficient. Because that guy was out of there in 15 minutes and the train was moving again as if nothing had happened. So things are definitely, I would say, I'm not sure what I would say, but this place is not really what a lot of people think it is for a lot of people that are from here. They haven't found that happiness that they were looking for. And it's a shame. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I know that there needs to be a solution, because they're losing a lot of good people, because those people aren't able to get the help that they need in order to be able to survive in this society. And you know, everybody has their ups and downs in this country. I've been up, I've been down. I've been up again, I've been down. I mean, I can't even count how many times I've been up or down. And let me go over here. But I've never been so down that I had to resort to something dramatic. So, I mean, I wonder what the solution is. I wonder if maybe they have to just stop putting pressure on people and just let the kids live. But of course, it's not only kids. It's the salarymen, the businessmen. They're also, actually, they're pretty much most of it. They're the ones that are probably doing it the most. So, over here, there's a lot of pressure. You have to conform. Japan is not a society for people who aren't towing the line, who aren't fitting in. Just because you look alike doesn't mean that you're going to fit in. And a lot of people are not fitting in. So you have this situation that needs a certain amount of attention before people feel as if they have no hope. I mean, I've talked about this before. I've been told that there was a foreigner. I talked about it in one of these episodes before, that they told me that he hung himself. And he hadn't even been here that long. Today is Friday night. It's a hot Friday night. I might do an episode on nightlife in Osaka today if I have the energy. It's not easy bringing these stories out. But I enjoy what I do. So, I wonder if this will stop one day, where people will, the thing that kind of like startles me is like the way that they're doing it. Jumping in front of a train, and then the train or the railway company sues you for jumping in front of their train. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like you've been injured, but then you get injured again. If this was the States, this would be ridiculous. Nobody would ever even consider something like that. But this is Japan. And people do things in a way that's not, I guess, not the same as what you would see in other places. But anyway, thanks again for viewing my content. Much appreciated. This is Chase the Traveler, coming to you from Osaka, Umeda. I tell you what the other people are uncomfortable talking about. I tell it like it is. I've been here, I've done it, I know it. So, again, thank you very much for your support, much appreciated. Please like and subscribe. And till the next episode, peace.